Another Republican senator has made some questionable purchases of stock following a classified briefing on coronavirus. So now this is Senator David Perdue of Georgia, who bought stock in DuPont de Nemours. That's, of course, a chemical company that produces personal protective equipment. So now he bought the stock on January 24th, the same day the Senate received a classified briefing on the spread of the novel coronavirus. So now that's been reported by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. They've been talking a lot about this insider trading. So now the revelation, of course, came from Perdue's financial portfolio disclosures, which he's, of course, legally supposed to provide. All right, so now the latest disclosure filed on Sunday included 110 items related to stock trades. Now, according to the Journal-Constitution, Perdue engaged in heavy trading in March. So now March is when, of course, the markets plunged as a lot of people were concerned about the virus coming to the United States, in which it did. And of course, the month of March saw a gigantic loss in stock value. So now, the disclosures reveal that in the month of March, Perdue made about 76 stock purchases of as much as $1.8 million. Now, I understand this is in the middle of the stock market crash, as it was losing thousands of points each day, right? Perdue says, I'm going to snap some of that up. I mean, again, buy low, sell high, right? So now he buys a majority of this stock is in PPE. Fascinating. Now, the report also documented 34 stock sales worth as much as $825,000, probably wanting to get out of some of the other stocks that are not doing so well after coronavirus. So now, if you're wondering how much that differs, right, the normal, again, heavy trading, right, 76 stock purchases and 34 stock sales worth, as I said, about $825,000. Purdue's portfolio from March onward was 3 times as busy as it was in the 2 years before coronavirus hit the United States. So, look, I guess in context, sort of understandable, right? You're super busy doing some buying and selling, right? As the stock market's crashing. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense, but nonetheless, here we have an issue where you obviously had knowledge beforehand. Did any of that affect your stock purchases? Now, Perdue spokeswoman Sherry Gillan told the Journal-Constitution that, quote, since coming to the U.S. Senate in 2015, Senator Perdue has always had an outside advisor managing his personal finances, and he is not involved in day-to-day decisions. So she also adds, for the last 5 years, Senator has fully complied with all federal law and all Senate ethics requirements. Now, those ethic requirements are super weak, incredibly weak, as is, of course, the enforcement on insider trading. I mean, who really gets in trouble for insider trading? I can count one case in the last year. And it had to have been super, super obvious, right? That's Chris Collins. So now, for me, look, I don't think there's any possible way that Perdue and his financial advisor didn't have that information. Now, Perdue had it. Of course, we know that because he went to the briefing. But his advisor, in making all these trades and specifically buying, again, PPE, right, with knowledge that the American public really didn't have, because the American public really didn't know how bad this was going to be, right? Oh, the H1N1, here you have the president saying, oh, it's just like the flu. It's not a really big deal. We're not really going to see it all in America. For example, you had Kayleigh McEnany, who is now Donald Trump's press secretary, saying it's not even going to come to America. It's fine. President Trump will protect us with good policy. And even if it does, it's going to be a small thing. Nobody worry about this. In fact, you even had Richard Burr, who was another person who made some questionable trades, putting out op-eds saying that thankfully the United States is better prepared today than ever before to face the emerging public health crisis, like the coronavirus, in large part due to the work of the Senate Health Committee, Congress, and the Trump administration. See, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Whereas all these senators, including Burr and Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, were old either dumping stock in industries that are going to be affected by this, or no, I'm sorry, in addition to them buying stock in PPE companies. But that, we're supposed to believe that none of that is related. Oh no, it was someone else. It was my financial advisor. Really? So you're saying your financial advisor just made some extremely lucky guesses based on no information whatsoever. Information that is publicly available, right? Reports coming out of China. Maybe that's possible. Sure. But it just happens to be so much luck that all these Congress people happen to dump stock expected to fall and to buy stock that's expected to rise. I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. How stupid do they think we are? Wait, don't answer that. No, what we need is, instead of guessing, we need investigations into insider trading. All these Congress people, Loeffler, Burr, Feinstein, who also dumped stock, Perdue, every single one of them. Okay? Because if we find out through an investigation that they made money off information that was not public, that's a crime, and that would make them criminals. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.